press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, welcome back to video classes by Siddhaganga. See, today we will learn a very important concept of this chapter, that is conducting pathways in the heart, right? That is origin and conduction of heartbeat, right? Origin and conduction of heartbeat, or you can consider conducting system of heart, right? Conducting system of heart, or origin and conduction of heartbeat. See, generally, so as we learn, the heart, it has 4 chambers, 2 auricles and 2 ventricles, right? Auricles are blood receiving chambers and ventricles are blood pumping chambers, okay? So when the ventricles need to pump the blood, they need impulses, right? They need the power of contraction. So that power of contraction, right, provided by the muscles, the specially made musculature in the heart wall. As I have already told you, that heart wall is made up of epicardium, myocardium, endocardium, right? There are 3 layers in the heart wall, and the myocardium is a layer, right? It is a middle layer of the heart wall that comprises of the specially denoted musculature or the muscle known as cardiac muscles, right? And they are having an inherent properties, right? They are having an inherent property of generating, initiating the electrical impulses needed for the contraction of the heart chambers, right? So that exact concept ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಿಬೇಕು. So it will be asked for again 5 mark question in the theory, right? In the board exam you will be getting it for 5 marks. Very important, right? So for this you need to draw a simple diagram, right? Just you need to show the 4 chambers. Along with the chambers, there are specific nodal tissues of the musculature you need to show with the correct labels or labelings. But whereas in case of NCERT, so in the same diagram, they have mentioned the musculature system also, right? So in the same diagram, means the vertical section of the human heart or the structure of the heart, sectional view of the heart. So on the diagram is there. So in the same diagram, you will be getting both. So in my video classes, I made it separate, right? Please note down this diagram also. So while writing, you please observe and make a note on it, right? See, while writing or explaining or describing the conduction pathway, and no need to write the blood vessels, right? So don't write blood vessels, only you show the chambers with musculature system, right? So the next I'll show the chambers. The first one is right auricle, and the second one is right ventricle, right? This one is left auricle and this one is left ventricle, right? So just show. Okay, right? See, after writing this, you need to show the musculature system, the specific nodal tissues of the muscles recognized. See, exactly in the right side of the upper, right side of the upper corner, and particularly right side of the upper corner, right side of the upper corner, there will be a node, and this node is specifically considered as cyanoatrial node. This one is cyanoatrial node. So you need to remember the specific wordings and shortly considered as abbreviated as SAN. Cyanoatrial node. See, exactly in the right atrium, upper corner of the right, nodi, right alle upper corner anta nenpitಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, right? From here, specifically the internodal pathways So these arrow marks are, I'll tell you what they are exactly. And one more, the nodal tissue is recognized where exactly in the lower corner of the right atrium and near to this Atroventricular septum. Nodi structure ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. This septum is known as interauricular septum, right? Interauricular septum. And this one is known as interventricular septum, right? And this region where the auricles and ventricles and the atria ventricles are separated by another septum known as atrioventricular septum, right? So exactly in the near to the atrioventricular septum, in the lower corner of the right atrium, and to the left anta helbeku nodi, in the left lower corner of the right atrium. Left andre ee side agutte, idu right agutte, right? So idu left, right, and right upper idu left lower ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. And this one is known as atrioventricular node, or abbreviated as AVN, right? Very important, you need to remember, right? Cyanoatrial node and atrioventricular node, and these are the internodal pathways. These are internodal pathways, right? From this AVN, then it leads into it leads down in the interventricular septum. So again there will be a musculature, the system of muscle fibers, and this get branched into two bundles, right? One is right bundle branch, another one is left bundle branch that surrounds, they surrounds the ventricles of their side. Right. So here this bundle, when it starts from this AVN, this is said to be bundle of His. This one is said to be bundle of His. H-I-S. His means the name of the scientist, right? A famous cardiologist, right? Who invented this bundle of His. And then further, this each bundle is considered, say this one is left bundle of, or left bundle branch, left bundle branch, and this one is right bundle branch, right? And further, these branches consisting of the minute fine fibers called Purkinje fibers, like this, right? Yes, these are called Purkinje fiber or network. Yes. So this one is left auricle, and this one is left ventricle, this one is right ventricle, this one is right auricle. Yes, this diagram you need to write during explanation, right, for this question. You need to show the different the nodal tissues along with the different and the special musculature. Yes, listen carefully. See, when the conduction, so the beginning of the conducting, the impulses, that impulses are known as cardiac impulses, right? Cardiac impulses. Cardiac means what? See, cardiac means heart. So, cardiac andre heart. The study of heart is known as cardiology. Right? The study of heart is known as cardiology. Now, study of blood is called hematology, right? So, similarly, the study of heart is known as cardiology, cardiology, right? So, in case of this, when we are studying the conducting pathways, the conduction process of impulses, so first there is a node considered present in the right upper corner of the right atrium, right? Right upper corner of the right atrium, there is a node. Node is known as SAN, that is Cyanoatrial Node. So, this Cyanoatrial Node is called a pacemaker. See, it is a pacemaker. You are getting one mark question here. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪೇಸ್ ಮೇಕರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಆರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪೇಸ್ ಮೇಕರ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಪೇಸ್ ಮೇಕರ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, SAN, bundle of his, AVN or Purkinje Fibers. See, among these four, which is known as a pacemaker, that is SAN. Why it is? Because it is a node or a tissue or the musculature or the muscle fibers that initiate, that is responsible in the initiation of the impulses. But electrical impulses are generated from where? Ellinda exact generate agutte, and that region or the tissue or the node is considered as pacemaker. Please remember, this is very important for competitive and also for theory board exam for 1 mark question, right? SAN is called a pacemaker. Why? Is because the impulses needed for, impulses needed for contraction of the heart chambers generated or initiated from which tissue or which node? So, that is SAN. So, hence this SAN is specifically considered as pacemaker, right? See, so here I have mentioned in the 2 regions as node, right? What it is? Node andre ಏನು sir? It is a special tissue, it is a musculature. ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಏನೂ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಮಸ್ಕ್ಯುಲೇಚರ್ ವೇರ್ ದ ಮಸಲ್ ಫೈಬರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೀಸ್ ಮಸಲ್ ಫೈಬರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಮೇಡ್ ಟು ಪವರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಮೇಡ್ ಟು ಜನರೇಟ್ ಇಂಪಲ್ಸಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ದೇ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಎನ್ ಇನರೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ, ಒಂದು ಆಂತರಿಕ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಅವುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ. ಏನಂತ? ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಇನರೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಜನರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಇಂಪಲ್ಸಸ್. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಪವರ್ ಆಫ್ generating electrical impulses, right? So, this SAN is called pacemaker as it initiate the electrical impulses needed for contraction of these chambers, right? So, first as SAN initiate, so immediately again the muscle fibers, these are all the muscle fibers, they are, see please, after, see again I will write some other words, so please note down this diagram or else you take a screenshot of this, right? Okay, right. See here, after initiating the electrical impulses by the SAN, see what happens. So this leads the many muscular or muscle fibers, right? So these muscle fibers are moving anta anಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಟೋಗ್ತದೆ. And these impulses are moving in the first auricles, right? In the atrial chambers first, because they are generated in the right upper corner of the right atrium. So from the right atrium also the left atrium, towards the left atrium, so these impulses are moving with the help of the fibers, and all these are said to be internodal pathways, right? All these fibers are connected, so are considered as internodal pathways. Actually, this SAN, in the region of SAN, the rate of impulses, so what will be the rate of impulses in the SAN? So approximately, so means an average, means 70 to 75, 70 to 75 impulses per minute. 70 to 75 impulses per minute generated or initiated by the SAN. And the same, after generating the impulses, the same impulses are propagated. They are propagated, they are conducted towards the ventricles. First ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, towards the atrial chambers. First towards the atrial chambers. So these impulses are moving, and again they will construct into a special region between the atrioventricular, or in the region atrioventricular septum, right? So between the atrium and ventricles there is a region called atrioventricular septum. In the region of septum, again a group of muscle fibers that construct into AVN, that is atrioventricular node. And this node is also, is able to generate, but compared to SAN is very less, and it is smaller than SAN, right? SAN compare madidre AVN is smaller, and hence SAN is said to be pacemaker as it initiate. And even this atrioventricular node AVN also can generate impulses about 40 per minute, about 40 numbers, right? Illi nodi 70 to 75. So 70 to 75. Hence the human heart beat or heart rate can be considered 72 per minute. Nenpidukoli. On an average 72. 60 to 80 cardiac cycles happen ant helti now. Helkodtene. Cardiac cycle hogona next, right? See this AVN receives the entire impulses generated from the SAN and after moving throughout the auricles. So thus auricles contract first. You please remember this statement. See among these, see auricles and ventricles, which chambers contract first in the cardiac cycle? Andre auricles first contract, atria first contract, then ventricles, because the first electrical impulses or the cardiac impulses are generated and circulated around these chambers, auricles, upper chambers. So then finally the entire cardiac impulses are constructed towards the AVN, and this AVN also generate the cardiac impulses of the rate estirutte 40 per minute, and the same thing will moves down and through a bundle of muscle fibers, and this special bundle of muscle fibers, or you can consider atrioventricular fibers, AV fibers antanu karitare, AV fibers, and these fibers are moving down, and this is known as bundle of His. And after this, the same bundle of His get branched into two branches, the left bundle branch and the right bundle branch, right? Though the left bundle branch is moving on its side, means and cover the entire ventricle. See, especially you need to remember one more thing here, that the ventricles are separated by interventricular septum, right? So this interventricular septum is more prominent. You please remember this, and is more thick and more prominent because it needs more power to pump the ventricular contraction, or so it needs more power for showing the ventricular contraction, right? So this wall is more prominent. In this wall, so the left bundle branch and right bundle branches of the bundle of His or the muscle fibers, so they are surrounding the entire ventricle of their side, right? Left in the left side cover madkolotte, right in the right side cover madkolotte. And also they are again having the minute fibers of the muscle fibers. They are called Purkinje Fibers or the Purkinje's network, right? So finally these impulses are moving and reach into entire surrounding of the ventricles, and that results the ventricular contraction, right? So first the electrical impulses or the cardiac impulses are generated and made auricular contraction, then that leads down to bring the ventricular contraction, right? Down to bring the ventricular contraction. So this is how the conduction pathways, conducting system of the heart, origin and conduction of the heartbeat. I'll tell you what it is exactly. Heartbeat is rhythmic sound. See, during this contraction and relaxation, I will tell you after what it is exactly the heartbeat after learning a cardiac cycle, right? Cardiac cycle na kaltkolna, cardiac cycle kalt mele heartbeat al hogona, heartbeat na jate kaltkolna. See here, the first, this thing you need to remember, that is the conduction pathway, right? Conducting system of the heart. It comprises of a special musculature, right? Is made up of especially having the characteristic features of generating impulses needed for contraction of heart chambers. Please remember this concept. After only you are able to learn this thing, right? What is pacemaker? Pacemaker is SAN, right? Pacemaker is SAN. Why it is called pacemaker? Pacemaker anta karitare as it initiate. the impulses, right? So ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, it is very important. And where SAN is located are present, and where AVN is located, and what exactly bundle of his, and bundle of his leads down in the ventricular septum, interventricular septum. So there are two branches, and each branch surrounds its ventricle of its side and produces the number of fibers, right? And these minute fibers are called Purkinje fibers. So this is how a conduction system can be studied, right? See, come to the next concept. We'll move on to the next concept called cardiac cycle. So what it is exactly, the cardiac cycle? Cardiac cycle andre ಏನು? Cardiac cycle andre ಏನು? It is a cycle, means it is a systole and diastole. Nodi, one systole and one diastole together constitute one cardiac cycle, right? One systole and one diastole. So I'll tell you what is systole and what is diastole. Systole, in the sense, systole is a contraction, means contract aguantaddu, like this, systole. This one is diastole. Systole, diastole. Systole, diastole, right? Contraction of the heart chambers is called systole. Relaxation of the heart chambers is called diastole. Then pidkoli systole and diastole, right? So cardiac cycle. One systole and one diastole constitute a cardiac cycle, right? So systole means what is systole? Systole means contraction. And diastole means relaxation of the heart chambers. Systole and diastole. See, in a healthy human being, especially, there are 72 cardiac cycles occur in a minute. 72 cardiac cycle. And each cardiac cycle, especially, see, each cardiac cycle, see, all the four chambers, they will contract and relax, right? Both ventricles and auricles contract and relax within the 0.8 seconds of time. Within 0.8 seconds of time. Please listen, right? I will show a cycle, right? On the cycle torustane. So after only can easily Yes, consider this one is 1 cardiac cycle, I am going to write, and here okay, total 0.8 second, how the chambers will contract and means within the 0.8 seconds, right? So first see here, consider, so 0, from 0 you will get 0.1 second. So just I will mention, right, 0.2 seconds, 0.3, and this one is 0.4 second, 0.5 seconds, 0.6 second, 0.7 seconds, and 0.8. So 8 ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು. ಸೊ 0.8 seconds, right? So 1 cardiac cycle, it laps in 0.8 seconds of time. In that, so when we talk about the first auricles and then ventricles, right? You consider this one is auricular contraction and relaxation cycle. ಈ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀನಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. 2 ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಇದು 2 ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸಿನ ಸೈಕಲ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ 0.1 seconds ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್, 0.1 seconds ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ, ರೈಟ್? ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಶೋ ಹಿಯರ್ 0.1 seconds ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. This one is auricular systole, right? Auricular systole. I will write AS. Auricular systole ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿ? Atria will contract. ನೋಡಿ, atria will contract. See, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. Atrial contraction. It laps in 0.1 seconds of time, right? Laps in 0.1 seconds of time. Next, from here, in a remaining ಎಷ್ಟು ಉಳಿತು ಸರ್? ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ನೋಡಿ 0.7 ಇದೆ, ಹೌದಾ? 0.7 seconds. I'll show complete considering as yes. Yes, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ 0.7 seconds of time, right? In this 0.7 seconds of time, the atrial diastole ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Atrial diastole. Atrial diastole. So this one is atrial systole and atrial diastole. It laps in 0.7 seconds of time. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ auricles ನೋಡಿ, atria will contract and relax within 0.8 seconds of time, right? In the 0.8 seconds of time, ನೋಡಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಯಿತು, ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಯಾವುದು? ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆದ 2 ಚೇಂಬರ್ಸ್, ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಈಗ ಸೊ ಕಮ್ ಟು ದ ಲೋಯರ್ ಚೇಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ನೋಡಿ, ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ only after auricular contraction. Only after auricular contraction. ನೋಡಿ 0.1 seconds of time ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಹಾಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸ್, ದೇ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಫ್ರಮ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ 1, 2, 3, 0.3 seconds, right? This one is considered, but this one is the ventricular systole for 0.3 seconds. ನೋಡಿ auricular systole or atrial contraction ಗಿಂತನೂ ಇದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Because they need to pump the blood into body parts and to the lungs. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ they need more power to pump, right? And they need more time to pump. So next, from here, see after 0.3 seconds and the remaining entire, that is 0.5 seconds of time. Total ನೋಡಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ? 0.5 ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. 0.5 seconds. Right? And this one is said to be the ventricular diastole for 0.5 seconds. 0.5 seconds ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total 0.5 seconds ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, right? So then please observe here, during auricular systole ventricles are in diastole, right? ನೋಡಿ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ ಸ್ಟೇಟಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? ದೇ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ನೋಡಿ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ರೈಟ್? ಹಾಗೆ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಅಟ್ರಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸು. ನೋಡಿ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನೋಡಿ ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದಾನೇ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 0.1 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ 0.2 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇಂದಾನೆ ಅದು 0.1 ಸೆಕೆಂಡಿಂದ 0.1 ಸೆಕೆಂಡಿಂದಾನೆ ಅದು ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವುದು? ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಶೋಸ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ listen, see here, imagine these are auricles, these are ventricles, right? These are auricles, upper chambers. When the auricles will contract like this, ventricles are in relaxed state, relaxed. And when the ventricles will contract, auricles are in relaxed state. So this is how a cardiac cycle, it constitute one systole and one diastole. One systole, one diastole, like this. One systole, one diastole together constitute one cardiac cycle. Such about our average 72 cardiac cycles occur in 1 minute. And each cardiac cycle laps in 0.8 seconds of time, right? So this cycle clearly shows that where exactly the auricles contract means in which second means time exactly the auricles contract and ventricles contract. So ಇದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಫೈನಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ದಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಡಯಾಸ್ಟೋಲ್. ಏನು ಹೇಳಿ? ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಡಯಾಸ್ಟೋಲ್. ಎಸ್, ಎನಿಬಡಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ವೇರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ದ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಡಯಾಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಿ ದ ಸಿಸ್ಟೋಲ್. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಸ್ಟೋಲ್ನ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ atrial systole for 0.1 second and next point ನೋಡಿ ಅದು ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಇದು ಹಾಕ್ತಿದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿ 0.3 seconds ventricles systole ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ನು ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಏನಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೋತ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ದ 4 chambers ಆರ್ ಸೆಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಚೇಂಬರ್ಸ್, ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 4 chambers ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ರಿಯಾ ಡಯಾಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದಾನೇ ಶುರುವಾಗಿದೆ 0.7 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ಸು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಶುರುವಾಗಿದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಚೇಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ? ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ 0 ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಆಲ್ ದ ಚೇಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸೆಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಎ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಡಯಾಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ 0.4 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು? ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಡಯಾಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು? ಇದನ್ನು ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಡಯಾಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಬೋತ್ ಆರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವೆಂಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಎರಡೂ ಕೂಡ, ಅಂದರೆ ಆಲ್ ದ 4 ಚೇಂಬರ್ಸ್ are in relaxed state. ಏನನ್ಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನ? They are in relaxed state ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. So this is how a cardiac cycle can be studied. So ಇದಿಷ್ಟು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ಕಾರ್ಡಿಯಾಕ್ ಸೈಕಲ್, ವಾಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ, ದ ಒನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಡಯಾಸ್ಟೋಲ್. ನೋಡಿ, ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪವರ್ ಆಫ್, ನೋಡಿ, ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್, ಫಾರ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ದ heart chambers, cardiac impulses are needed, and how they are generated and which tissue is known to generate and propagate ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ಮುಂಚೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ನ ಬರೆದು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಡಿಯಾಕ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು, ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಕಾರ್ಡಿಯಾಕ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅಕ್ಕರ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಮಿನಿಟ್? 72 ಅವರೇಜ್, ರೈಟ್? 72 ಕಾರ್ಡಿಯಾಕ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ಸ್. 60 to 80 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವರೇಜ್ ಅಂತ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಾವು 72 ಬರ್ತೀವಿ, ಆರ್ 70 to 75 ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್. That constitute exactly heart rate. The heart rate is 72 beats ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, 72 beats. ನಾನು ಬೀಟಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಬೀಟಿಗೆ ಬರೋಣ ಅಂತ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ನೋಡಿ, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಎ ಸಿಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಯಾಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಸಿಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಯಾಸ್ಟೋಲ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಒನ್ ಕಾರ್ಡಿಯಾಕ್ ಸೈಕಲ್, ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ 0.8 seconds of time. In that 0.4 seconds of time is said to be joint diastole. So please remember all these things regarding means both for competitive and for board exams, right? And one more thing I need to tell you one more regarding for competitive also. See, as we are studying the different heart, means heart in case of different animals, when you are going to study the heart in case of different animals, so exactly, in case of human beings, I told you that the special musculature is present, and that special musculature is having an inherent property of generating impulses, right, needed for contraction. So similarly, in all the animals is the same case? No. ಎಲ್ಲ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೇ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ there are sorry, majority of vertebrates, in case of majority of vertebrates, see, almost all vertebrates we can consider. Majority of invertebrates are different, and almost all vertebrates, see, almost all vertebrates you will be come across the heart is known as myogenic heart. ಎಂಥ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ? myogenic heart, right? Please note down the words. There are two words, one is myogenic and other one is, and you take the screenshot of this. Okay, thank you. So the next, there are two categories of heart. One is myogenic and other one is neurogenic. Myogenic heart, right? And other one is neurogenic heart. ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಇವೆರಡು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಮಯೋ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಮಸಲ್, ಮಯೋ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಮಸಲ್, ಜೆನಿಕ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ generating, right? So myo means muscle, right? So here see, in case of myogenic heart, the impulses cardiac impulses, right? Impulses means cardiac impulses generated by muscle fibers, okay. And here see, in case of neurogenic heart, see, neuro means neural tissue, right? Neural tissue, a special neural tissue. So here, so in this, the impulses generated, cardiac impulses generated by the help of neural pathway. By the help of neural pathways, right? So here the special musculature itself has the capacity to generate the impulses needed for the contraction of heart chambers. ನೋಡಿ, why the impulses needed ಅನ್ನೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯಿತು, and what is contraction and what is relaxation of the heart chambers ಅಂತನೂ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. So there are two categories, and myogenic heart is seen in in case of vertebrates, right? Vertebrates, even in case of, including human beings, we are having myogenic heart. So, in case of neurogenic, you please note down this majority invertebrates. In majority invertebrates, you will be come across neurogenic heart, and it is purely neural control, and it has the neural control, and this one is having the power of control by the muscular tissue. So, this is the major difference between these two, myogenic heart and neurogenic heart. And you need to remember this thing is again for the 1 mark or 2 mark questions. What is a myogenic heart or what is a neurogenic heart? So, this is how specifically the conduction pathway or the conducting system of the heart and cardiac cycle, one cardiac cycle, and that constitute one systole and one diastole, and the third category, which is said to be the 2 types of heart recognized in case of animals based on the origin of electrical or the cardiac impulses needed for contracting of chambers, right? So, hope you are enjoying the classes. Thank you. Have a nice day.